So you have a website that's making you some good money. Every day you're getting dozens, maybe hundreds of sales, which equates to thousands of dollars a day. Thousands, maybe hundreds or thousands an hour. And you need that website to stay up. You need it to not die, not go down and have a critical error. Whatever you want to, however you want to describe it, you don't want anything to happen to that website. You don't want the cart to break. You don't want anything like that happening, right? So you rely on a maintenance team like us. I run a web design development agency, and a big part of what we do, we got a number of clients that we help them with their maintenance. And we're going to talk about what's actually all involved with that. You think of maintenance, it sounds pretty basic, right? Oh, you're just keeping the website up to date. You're just updating some plugins. You know, maybe you fix a bug here and there. There's a lot more to it. And that is what the lesson will be today. I'm going to give you this lesson through the perspective of a recent thing we've been dealing with the last couple of weeks with an outside development team. Now, we do a lot of things to protect a website. In this particular case today, in this particular client, that scenario I just described earlier is true. They get a lot of sales every day. And in fact, this time of year is very, very important for them because this is like the biggest part of the year, for whatever reason, around tax time. And so it's really important for us throughout the year to do a good number of things to protect their site. And that means protecting the code, protecting who can actually update the site. And that means even blocking the client themselves or their team. Since we've been working with this client for a year and a half, maybe almost 2 years. And very early on, it was like, okay, we now own the code. Anything that is updated on a site goes through us. And we'd rather we make the updates. They have a marketing person. And that marketing person is qualified enough to be able to go in and make updates, edits to the theme and stuff. But I put a kibosh on that. I don't know if kibosh is the word, but I ended that practice of anybody just being able to go in there and do stuff. So we have a process we have staging sites, we have Git flows and processes and things we'll implement for a client. And the staging is just like a duplication of the site where you do all your updates, especially if there's larger features and things. You're doing all that over here and getting that approved and looking good and tested before it goes to being pushed to production, or the live site, we call it, right? So that's in place. So we have that QA process, the quality assurance, that things before they go there have been checked. And even after they go live, we're also reviewing it, testing to make sure that it looks good. We use things like Pingdom. Pingdom, Pingdom, is a website that allows you to, it does a number of things, but one of the big things it does for me is just make sure that the websites stay up. So if there is an issue, I'm alerted. So yeah, so I got all these things in place. We have these processes in place, and there's only one or a couple people on my team that can update a particular site. Even when we're doing the updates, the plugins and so forth. We have a process, maybe it's bi-weekly, maybe it's monthly, where we update something, and only a focused team of people that are familiar with that site are going to take care of it. And that's the key here, because every website's different. Every build is different. And sometimes there's a lot to learn, and there's nuances, there's unique things about a website that unless you've worked on it, you don't know. So you might need to know how something's updated. Well, there's fewer people you want multiple people to be able to work on the site, just in case one is gone, it takes a vacation or something, but not too many, not everybody and then people you don't know. So in this case today, we've been working with, I got attached to a CC to an email that this other development team needed to come in and implement some code. They're doing an integration with an outside service. And okay, sounds simple enough. Just give us the code. Just give us the code and we'll implement it. We'll add it to the site, right? And this has kind of been going back and forth for several weeks. And I kept asking for more clarification and more details about this project. They needed access to the database. They needed, it turns out that after talking to them finally, the other day I had a meeting with them to figure this out. It turns out it sounds like it's more complicated. Like we could even, as a team on the maintenance side, we can actually help them build an API. We can code. We build features. We do custom stuff. So we could actually just build it if it's simple enough, or implement, we can implement it. But they were determined that they had to do it. And so after talking to them, it's like, oh, it's going to take us 3 days, 6 in total because there's 2 sites to do this thing. And so it sounds like it's more complicated. I still don't know all the details, but it sounds very complicated. So, and I had been talking to the owner of the site, and we had kind of agreed that we would not give them access, especially this time of year, where it's the most important time of their year. But after that conversation, I'm like, well, I don't think I have a choice. So now it became down to risk versus importance. How important is this? Because the client was also telling me that this is really important for them. It's going to solve some problems for them on tracking things and stuff. And so I was weighing that. I said, well, if you really want this, it sounds like they have to do it. They have to do it themselves. I'm going to have to give them access. And then we talked some more. It's like, well, I really don't. I really thought we kind of agreed that they weren't going to get access. I said, okay, this is what we'll do. And so at that point, I knew the client was 100% in Matt's camp, my camp, that I now was in charge of this, in that I could say just no, this is the way we're going to do it. So I went back and I said, all right, so here's the idea to the client, and then communicated to them. So they can do it. They can develop it locally, which they were going to do anyway. We're going to give them a backup of the site. They can do their thing locally. They can push it to a staging site, which we'll set up. They can do the testing there. And then my team will go in, and after they communicate what they did and where everything is, my team can go in and review that code. We're going to review the code. Now, it shouldn't actually affect the front end of the card or anything like that, but we're going to make sure all that. And then once we understand the code and what's been updated, we will push it live. And now it's not a choice. It is what it is. So it was me in there trying to kind of be as flexible as possible, trying to listen to both sides and trying to understand what needed to be done. And at the end of the day, working with the owner to ensure that their site doesn't crash. It's a really, my job in a sense is to make updating the site difficult. Making it difficult enough to, purposely difficult so that it just can't be updated by anybody, and just anybody can't go in there. Even that backup we're making, we also got to ensure other things like user data isn't sent to them and all this other stuff. But we are managing that process, and the client's going to feel better because they trust us. We've been doing this for a couple of years. They trust us. They have, and so, that developer is just going to have to do it this way. But this is this is kind of one of those things where it's like we are doing a number of things here. And not only that, we're also educating the client at the same time. At some point, the client apologized because he's like, I'm not, he's trying really trying really hard to understand what this all is and what needs to be done. And I said, don't worry about it. We got you. It's fine. You don't need to know all this technical stuff, but just trust us that we will make sure that your website does not crash. And so it's in my role in the whole situation just to seek to understand. I get that happens on a frequent basis where something's just sent to me, and I have to look at that thing and see where the risk is there, who needs to do it. And we've done that. And with the same client, we've done other integrations for them for different reasons and worked with other teams. Same exact thing where we ended up, here's a staging site. This one I wasn't sure though, because I don't know. I knew it. I understand how things integrate with WordPress. So I was confused why this was such a big deal. And I understand why it probably had to be custom done, just the data they were pulling and the way they were pulling it. But I don't know. But we're good now. And again, so this is, as from a maintenance perspective, like if you have a website and you are really reliant on that website for your revenue, it's not just about hiring somebody to just update a few things or update some plugins and stuff, and because of security. There's a lot more to that security. There's a lot more to keeping a website up and running. We do so much for this client. At any given time, we might have 5-10 things in the queue to help them with, and doing some things in parallel. From updating, like right now we're updating product pages. We just redesigned some product pages for them and implementing that while we're fixing some issues with on the admin side, and we're doing a lot of different things. And so I have to wrangle all that, and at the same time make sure that an outside team doesn't inadvertently come in and crash the whole thing. All right. Well, hopefully you found this insightful and interesting. Be safe out there, guys, especially if you have a site that makes revenue. Take care.